As Mitsuri would battle against Zohakutan, the Love Hashira battling against the Kizuki, Tanjiro took time to try to get Genya under control, the white symbiote now taking form and bonding with his body. For Tanjiro, this was yet another new experience. He wasn't entirely sure on how to deal with it, but this was where Venom would take charge. The piece of symbiote I left behind, it's bonded with the boy's bloodstream on a deeper level. It's causing a new sentient being to be born. To be born? What? You're saying that this thing is... Yes, it is my child. An offspring created from me. We must get it under control. Normally, I wish we could have more allotted time, but that is something we are not afforded to at the moment. While Tanjiro was trying to talk down Genya, Venom would be talking to the new symbiote being born. It cried and screamed out, trying to find its place as it bonded with its new host. Where am I? What is this? Who are you? Shut up! I know what you're thinking, what's going through your head. You're thinking about feeding, about what your next meal will be. Well, I can tell you that now is not the time for such thoughts. To give you a rundown, you're on the planet Earth, yes, the dirtball Earth, and you have bonded with a human boy. That being over there, that one, he is your enemy. Venom directed towards Zohakutan. The demon. Yes, he is an enemy of my partner. He is an enemy to me, an enemy to us. We must destroy our enemies. Destroy, kill, destroy the demon, kill the demon. Yes, focus your fury towards the demon. The demon wishes to deny you life, deny you your existence. Will you let yourself be denied? No, I won't be denied. I won't be. I won't let it end here. Tanjiro, what the hell just happened to me? You've just gained a friend, an ally that will aid you. A friend. What is this? Call me Gyaksu. Gyaksu? The kanji for inverse. He's like an anti-venom, Venom would say. Anti-venom? It makes sense. I'm primarily black, with the white marking of the spider. He is predominantly white with the black marking of the spider. The inverse of me, Gyaksu, anti-venom. Well then, Genya would say to Gyaksu, will you... I'll back your moves, partner. We'll kill this demon. As he had finally gotten his bearings about him, along with Nezuko, having regrown her limbs and ready to join in the fight, they watched as Mitsuri, the Love Hashira, would continue her battle against the likes of Zohakutan. First using the power of love-breathing third form, Cat Love Shower, followed by love-breathing second form, Love Pangs, love-breathing sixth form, cat-legged winds of love. She sliced through the wooden dragons of the beasts created from Zohakutan. However, he would match it with his own, of the blood demon art, countless striking trees. Nezuko, Tanjiro, and Genya would aid in battling against the wooden dragons, creating an opening for Mitsuri to get close enough with her blade. Tanjiro couldn't help but notice that the way she used her sword, the way it moved and whipped around, it was a lot like his venom breathing, the form he had created, Longsword. As Mitsuri would wrap the blade around the demon's neck, Tanjiro would yell out and warn that that wasn't the core of the demon. Cutting its head would be useless. Mitsuri realized she miscalculated, as at point-blank range, the demon opened its mouth ready to fire off a sonic shot that would have bursted her eardrums and rendered her catatonic. However, before he got a chance to, something would get lodged in its mouth. It looked like a big ball of web. Mitsuri would be pulled out of the way, yanked by yet another web at the last second. I didn't keep you guys waiting now, did I? Another demon slayer, Tanjiro would say. Why is he like... The name's Takuya. Takuya Yamashiro. Takuya, you actually came. You were able to defeat that goblin demon? Well, not exactly. He ended up running off. I caught up to Lord Muchiro in the forest. He actually defeated another Kizuki. He sent me on ahead to help you guys out. Insolent humans. In the last moment, multiple wooden dragons would emerge, shooting off multiple sonic blasts and lightning strikes. Mitsuri would be struck once again, knocked to the ground, trying to regain her bearings. The demon would try to speak down on Mitsuri, calling her an insignificant human being, one that was lowly and not proper for what the world should expect of a human. A woman with burly strength, obscene hair and eyes. She was repulsive in every way, and Zohaku-tan made his thoughts very clear on how he felt about her. Of course, even for Mitsuri, for being a Hashira, words had a profound effect on the girl. Of course, it wasn't the first time she had heard them before, but the fact that even the likes of a demon could say what humans had told her all her life, it was a bit jarring, to say the least. Of course, out of everyone there, the one who took those insults to heart even more so than Miss Kanoroji was Yamashiro himself. How dare you? How dare you talk about a woman like her that way? Miss Kanoroji, she's more beautiful, more precious than anything you could ever find on this earth. Her strength, her resolve, it only adds to the beauty. No, it outshines everything else about her personality. The fact that she's a Hashira, that she has the strength to fight amongst even the best of the demon slayers. She's what all of us aspire to be. And you dare to speak ill of her. You, a would-be demon that had to cling and sell its soul because you weren't strong enough to make it on your own. That is what you think. It's the truth. It's always been the truth with you demons. It's how you live in this world. You talk high and mighty. You act as if you're the superior being. You're cowards who hide in the shadows. You can't even step into the light like the rest of us. It probably drives you insane, doesn't it? Every day before the sun rises, you scatter like roaches. You hide in the crevices in the darks of the earth. Because you know that even just stepping out, even for a moment, it exposes you for what you are, for who you truly are. Compared to Miss Kanoroji, you aren't even worthy to stand in the same presence as her. I won't let this disrespect stand. You understand me? You won't have to worry about living with insignificant humans. Because I promise you, when the sun rises, you'll be joining it in hell. With that, Yamashiro would move swiftly, attacking at once at Zohaku-tan. For Mitsuri, it caused her to reflect on her own life. Of course, she always thought that she wasn't like most girls. She wasn't what many would consider normal. Her burly strength for a woman of her stature, her hair that many thought was obscene and unrefined of a woman. She even lost marriage proposals because of it. Yet even still, she managed to forge for herself her own life. She made friends in her own way. She was grateful for everyone here around her. She set the example as a Hashira, an example that everyone else followed. And as such, she knew she couldn't let them down. With her faith strengthened and with her resolve now renewed, Mitsuri would lead the charge once more, with everyone following her lead. Takuya fighting close behind, as the Love Hashira and the Spider Demon Slayer worked together to battle against Zohakutan. They would buy the time that Tanjiro, Genya, and Nezuko needed to find Hantengu, the real demon, and to sever its head and to stop it once and for all. Tanjiro led the way with his sense of smell, the others following close behind. The tiny demon ran in the forest, shuddering away. Why? They just didn't understand. He never told a lie. He never did anything wrong. It wasn't his fault. And yet they continued to go after him. He didn't do anything wrong. Why couldn't they understand? The demon hid away within the woods, using its blood demon arts to try to protect itself. Tanjiro and Genya, working together respectively, their strength enhanced by the symbiotes, would hack and slash away at the wooden restraints, Nezuko burning it away with her blood demon arts, using the fiery blood to create a path for the two to get closer. As Tanjiro chased after it once more, hearing the platitudes of the demon who tried to absolve itself, it was enough to drive both he and Genya insane. For all the innocent people that you kill, for all of the lives that you take, don't you dare play the victim. You don't have the right. You can't escape from your sins, and you will pay for them with your life. Tanjiro would use the Himo Kamikagura, Flame Dance, preparing to strike away at the head of the demon. However, before he got a chance to, another one would emerge. The demon known as Yoroi, the demon of resentment. Hantengu still continued to hide behind yet more and more of his forces. Tanjiro trying to close the distance between the two of them, as the hulking demon would manage to grab and try to choke out his life. Venom poured all of his strength into trying to break away from the demon's restraints. Genya and Nezuko were helping where they could. Why? Why do you continue to attack the weak and the innocent? Have you no shame? Shame? You ask me something like that? It's you who should have shame. Your very life, your very existence. It brings shame. Because you kill. You kill without any remorse, without any regret. You don't apologize for the things you do. And yet, even still, you continue to try to absolve yourself, to act as if you play no part in it. Take responsibility. Tanjiro would manage to break free, managing to kick back against the demon once more. However, even though he managed to sever its head, the tiny demon itself still lived inside of the big demon's body. It had to be defeated. But Tanjiro, as he chased after the headless demon corpse, began to fall down a cliffside. Venom would protect Tanjiro from the brunt of the fall, yet even still there was limits to what even he could do. As Tanjiro stood back to his feet once again, the demon had already made great distance. It had lost a lot of blood, but it knew it could replenish. There were humans nearby, humans who could be devoured. Tanjiro had to get close to him. He had enough strength left. As Muchiro had managed to catch up to the group, he threw his blade to Tanjiro, who had lost his in the fall, yelling for him to take the demon down. One more time. It may be our last time, Tanjiro. Make it count. Understood. Tanjiro would remember a conversation he had with Zenitsu. Zenitsu had explained how he used thunder breathing, how he was able to control the flow of his breath, controlling all of the blood vessels through his body, to focus it in one swift motion, to move at unparalleled speeds. Tanjiro had always taken what he had learned from Zenitsu to heart, but now it was time to put it into practice. Venom knew where he was going and matched him beat for beat. And thus, a new venom-breathing form was created. Venom breathing, 5th form. Double critical. Venom breathing, 6th form. Black Flash. Himo Kamikagura. Dancing Flash. The demon that was moving far ahead in the open field, chasing behind the blacksmiths who were running to protect their swords. Genya shot at them from the cliffside with his venomized enhanced gun, shooting at its arms so it couldn't have a way of defending itself, as he yelled for Tanjiro to get in there and finish it once and for all. Tanjiro would use the trifold of breathing techniques, the trifold combination, striking at the chest of the demon. However, even still, it was still left standing. The tiny demon hadn't been taken out. The sun was starting to rise. But even with the rising of the sun, he wouldn't make it in time. Not in time to stop the demon. The reason? Because during that fall, Nezuko had been right behind him. The sun was starting to rise, and Tanjiro didn't have her box. What if I coat her with Venom symbiote? Then it'll protect her. But you won't have my strength, Tanjiro. You're in no condition on your own. What are you haven't been paying attention. I've been protecting your body. But even still, there's damage. A lot of it. The moment I leave you to cover Nezuko, you'll be a shattered corpse of a body. You won't have any energy to stand on. It's taking everything in my power just to keep your whole body upright. I know that you're helping me, but still, I'm not strong enough. But if I don't get there, Tanjiro, what are you going to do? As he was trying to come up with something, trying to think of a way, immediately, Nezuko would be pulled into Genya's arms. Genya used the newly formed symbiote around his body to form a tent. What are you just standing here for? Get him! Right. Thank you, Genya. Tanjiro would rush towards the demon. As it fought desperately to cling to its life one last time, Tanjiro would move in using the sword gifted to him from Muchiro as he severed the head of Hantengu, killing it as it was set ablaze in the sun once and for all. The sun had now risen over the blacksmith village, but for Tanjiro, he was still worried about one thing. He used whatever strength he had left with aid of Venom to get back to Nezuko. Nezuko, who was still being covered by Genya. Thankfully, they were able to keep her covered long enough, but still, they didn't know what to do. They were out in the open. There was nowhere to get Nezuko the proper shading. Covering her with the symbiote was only going to work for so long. As Nezuko reached out her hand to Tanjiro's, Genya noticed something. Tanjiro, look. Nezuko, she's not steaming. Genya slowly started to remove the symbiote covering he had made, much to Tanjiro's dismay, but what happened next couldn't be explained. The more he removed, exposing Nezuko to the sun, it didn't affect her. Tanjiro begrudgingly did the same, ready to pounce in an instant if things went wrong, but they didn't. The two boys were left in awe. There was no doubt to either of them that Nezuko was a demon. As far as Tanjiro knew, he hadn't found the cure. And yet here she was, still standing perfectly. But how? How is this even possible? Good morning, Nezuko. Are you okay? Nezuko, you're all right. You're okay. Venom would form black tendrils around Nezuko, pulling her closer to Tanjiro into a hug as the boy was running out of his own strength. The brother and sister held one another in a deep and warm embrace. For Tanjiro, it felt as though a weight had been lifted off of his shoulders. It was something that only Venom ever knew, the two of them being bonded and all that. Tanjiro had always felt responsible for what happened to his family, for what happened to Nezuko. Every day he replayed that night over and over again. What if he hadn't stayed behind at that shelter? What if he had raced home? Could he have done something? Anything? Maybe he would have found Venom sooner. Maybe they could have stopped Muzan sooner. Maybe he could have saved everyone. But the sad thing about dealing on a what if is that no matter how much you try, it can never change reality. The reality of the situation was that Nezuko was a demon, and she was all the family he had left. But for her to be in the state that she was in, how was it even possible? In the meantime, in the forest itself, Mitsuri and Takuya stood back to back. They had fended off a multitude of wooden dragons. Zohakutan ready to launch yet another flurry. Mitsuri thought that if things didn't change soon enough, it might be the end of them both. If it gets out of hand, Mitsuri would say, get out of here. I'll buy you. Not gonna happen. I won't leave you here, Miss Kanoroji. If we die, we'll die together. This boy, he is truly lovely. But thankfully, before he even came to that, Zohaku-tan would burst into flames, turning to ash and to dust that scattered in the wind. They had done it. Tanjiro and the others had done it. Everyone would gather together at the hillside, everyone relieved that the fight had now come to an end. Shortly thereafter, Mitsuri and Takuya would rejoin with everyone, Tanjiro thanking them immensely for their help, before finally passing out for a long and overdue rest. The village would begin to recover. It would take time, yes, but even during the darkest of nights, on the heaviest of storms, even when it seems as though everything has been destroyed and taken away, it can be rebuilt. Things that were once gone can be made new. Tanjiro had seen that. This had definitely been more of an adventure than he could have ever have imagined. And still, he felt stronger for it. He was grateful. Through trial and adversity, fate had rewarded him. And it gave him the strength to go on and to continue. One day, Nezuko would be fully human, and these worries and troubles would be far behind them. Till then, he would not drop his sword. He would not lose sight of his focus. He would continue to grow stronger, to be better, as a brother and as a partner. Tanjiro would say goodbye to everyone in the village, from the village chief, Kotetsu, and all the others that were grateful to their hero. Of course, Tanjiro would have his ears, his nose, everything covered up, and after going through the strenuous process of being carted off from one location to another and then another, Tanjiro eventually found himself back at the start. But he wouldn't be alone, because right there next to him, Genya and Takuya. Takuya, finally waking up, he was more exhausted than he thought. Of course, he thought that he was going to get a chance to talk to Miss Kanoroji more, but Mitsuri had left him something. It was a note in his coat pocket. They watched as his face turned bright red. There was even a sealing kiss at the bottom. Love yours truly, the Love Hashira. It was worth it. I got 5 broken ribs, a punctured lung, a broken leg. Oh God, I'm in so much pain. Yeah, quit your whining. You're not the only one that's hurt, Genya would say. But still, I'm glad we got through it. We all survived. That's what's most important. Yeah, but our business is far from over, Tanjiro. You've got a lot of explaining to do about this symbiote crap. What's happened to me? You've gained a friend. Someone who will always be there with you. A friend, huh? So, what are they like? It's complicated. Well, I've got nothing better to do, so you've got a lot of explaining. I'm sure. And you, Mr. Yamashiro, thank you so much for helping us out. Yeah, it's nothing. I've actually been meaning to meet with you for a while now. The famed Tanjiro Kamado. Well, there's been a lot of talk about you. And I've heard tales about you as well. You have? Well, only in passing here or there. What's about your name? Well, I'm Takuya Yamashiro. Though some people have called me the Spider-Man. The what? Tanjiro would say. Venom perked up at this. You've got to be kidding me. What? I mean, it's not like it's an official name or anything. It's just that from time to time, sometimes they call me Spider-Man. So what? I mean, I swing on the web like a spider, crawl, do whatever a spider can, What? You're not the first Spider-Man I've ever met. Hold on. What do you mean I'm not the first? Well, what other Spider-Mans are there? It's a long story. Well, I've got nothing to do either. So, why don't you tell me about it? Well, sure. If you guys really want to hear it. The two would sit down and pay attention. For Tanjiro, things had just taken a turn. To where and when, he had no idea. But he wasn't the only one intrigued. Muzan had been keeping tabs. That girl was the key to his freedom. Nezuko. If I get my hands on her, I will finally conquer the sun. And then, Cletus Cassidy, you'll be the first to pay. This concludes Demon Slayer Dark Fury. What if Tanjiro had Venom? Season 3, Part 5, the Season 3 finale. As always, when we get to the end of the completion of another series, of another season, I always like to take the time to say thank you, of course. Thank you to everyone who's followed along with the series and everyone who will follow along down the line. I thank you for your support. As I always say, I can't do it without you. You make the channel grow. You make the core grow. I've had a lot of fun delving back into an old series of mine, one that helped get this channel on its feet in the early stages. So to have it continue and for everything else that's going to be coming out now and in the future, I definitely can't wait to get into it. So again, I thank you all and I ask for your support with everything that's to come out now and in the future. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time. It was during the night, as the boys had decided to take camp. Safe to say, their minds completely blown from everything Tanjiro and Venom told them. But Tanjiro was still up in his thoughts, with Venom the only one to keep him company, although he wished to get some rest himself. Say, Venom, Tanjiro would ask, what is it? Do you think there are other symbiotes out there? Other Venoms, in the multiverse? Of course there are. I can be the first to tell you, we're all connected. Wait, really? Can you tell me about them? Can you? Your body's in no state to handle any of that nonsense. If I even tried to show you a fraction, you know what? Sure, why not? Venom would connect to what you might call the Venomverse. And for a split second, Tanjiro got to see a lot more than he could have ever dreamed of. So much so, it almost left the boy in complete shock. What on earth? There are a lot of worlds out there, Tanjiro. A lot more than you can possibly comprehend. Well, are they at least friendly? Perhaps. But still, it's a big multiverse out there. You never know who you might run into.